Hello and welcome to All About Billings. We are a show dedicated to discovering the people who make Billings a great place to work and live. We will interview local business people, community leaders, artists, entertainers, and we will learn from them all about their successes, their challenges, and their connection to Billings. I'm your host, Nancy Brook, broker and owner at Billings Best Real Estate. And today it is my pleasure to have as my guest Ashley Schlosser, who has Schlosser's treats.
Sweet treats.
Sweet treats.
Yep.
Sweet treats. So it is exciting to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
I am really excited to learn more about your business.
Cool.
So why don't you just start by telling us what it is you do?
I make sugar cookies mostly. It kind of started out as a hobby that just kind of grew into a business, and I have been doing it for about 5 years. I was bored during COVID, so I decided to learn something new. I get really hyper focused on mastering something, so that was my new thing. And then people started asking me to make them for birthdays and weddings and celebrations, and so it just kind of organically grew. And now I work part-time at St. Vincent as a lab tech, and then I'm also doing this part-time, mostly full-time actually, but
right.
Yeah.
And also a part-time farmer, right?
Oh yeah,
rancher.
Kind of, yeah. My kids are in 4-H, so
you got a lot going on.
I do have a lot going on. Yes.
So let's talk about sugar cookies, because there are a lot of different recipes for sugar cookies. I think I told you when I was young I used to bake. I wasn't a specialist in sugar cookies, more cheesecake, chocolate chip cookies, those kinds of things. But there's different types of ways that people make sugar cookies. So tell me a little bit about how you experimented and came up with your... So
my recipe is my grandmother's. So we used to make rolled sugar cookies for Christmas and Easter, and we were always baking in the kitchen. So I learned from my mom and my grandma how to bake, and I bake everything. But I started out with cakes, but sugar cookies kind of became my passion. It's a creative outlet. I use a meringue frosting, so they dry hard, and you can get very creative with the different designs. And I'm amazed that I get better every year. I can see a difference in how my craft is expanded. So
well, but even just the taste of sugar cookies, because some sugar cookies can be kind of tough
and gross. Yes.
Yes. I mean, have you had those? And then sometimes they can taste good, but maybe they kind of disintegrate too much.
Yeah, and they're hard as a rock sometimes.
Yeah, so, I mean, how did you learn how to get it just right? Obviously, you had Grandma's recipe, but I think it's more than just the recipe.
Yeah, I just trial and error, basically. I joined a lot of Facebook groups to help me out when I was starting out, but I'm very proud that people compliment me on how they taste and look all the time, so it makes me very happy that people keep coming back because they taste good. So,
well, and we've all had those baked goods that look really good
and taste.
Well, what comes to mind is some birthday cakes. Yeah. And then the frosting is yucky, and then you're going, this is not a good cake. No. It looked pretty.
Right. Yeah.
But so yours tastes good and look good.
I'm really proud of my recipe. So
how did you get the word out when you first were starting?
My coworkers basically started to ask me to make stuff, and then word of mouth, and then I kind of started advertising on Facebook, and I'd get mentioned all the time in different posts that were, I'm looking for a baker, who do you suggest? And so it just kind of organically grew like that. And then a couple years ago I started teaching sugar cookie classes. So that's really expanded my business, and they've become very popular. I have a lot of people that come over and over and over again, which is great. So it's been humbling and awesome at the same time. So
where do you hold these classes?
I do a couple a month. During December I usually do way too many because that's when people really want to do them. But I've done Canyon Creek, Thirsty Street, Columbia Club. I've done a few at 105 Brewing in the Heights. I've done a couple at Classy and Sassy on Grand. Last Chance Pub.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just kind of go all over town, and I've had people ask me to do that. I mostly do them at Canyon Creek, Thirsty Street, and Columbia Club. Those are my main three that I go to all the time. But and Yellowstone Cellars and Winery, that one's one of my favorites to go to.
Oh, sure. Well, they have a nice big space too, so you probably can fit a lot of people.
Yeah, and so everybody gets a drink with their ticket, and so that's how I pay for the space. And but yeah, it's been almost all of them sell out, so it's been great.
And so we should mention that you do have a website where your classes
Yep.
are posted.
Yes.
So there's probably always something going on.
Yeah, I usually take the summer off, but I do have a couple Easter classes, and then I have like an April showers class that I'm working on for April, and then I usually take the summer off because we do jackpots and fair and stuff with our animals, so we're busy.
Oh,
but,
sure.
Yeah, and then I pick up back in the fall. I've also been teaching some like just baking classes at the community education here at the Lincoln Center. So yeah, that's been fun. I did a course in the fall, and then I've done a food prep class and a couple of royal icing workshops and stuff. So it's been really cool to work with them too. So
Well, and I did notice you have like themes, like you have St. Patrick's Day
Yep.
all over your website right now.
Yep, I'm doing a pre-sale. I have some left.
And you also have like little mini cupcakes.
Yeah, I'm doing cupcakes, and I've expanded into sourdough, and I have like some people that get sourdough for me weekly. I won best of show at the fair for my sourdough.
Really?
So yeah, and then cinnamon rolls. I've been really wanting to master donuts, and I feel like I finally have mastered that. So just we don't really have anything in the Heights for donuts or in Shepherd, so I've been trying to master that in case someday I want to do this full time and offer
Ashley's
something.
Donuts.
Yeah, something. We'll see. So, but,
Well, and so you have a background, obviously. You're in lab, and so
Yep.
that's pretty science
Yep.
oriented,
Yeah,
chemistry oriented.
So I specialize in microbiology, so I'm a microbiologist at St. Vincent.
Okay.
We grow up the bacteria and test it against antibiotics and do all the viral testing. So it's very, scientist is in my job title. So,
Right, but
yeah.
but you are, you
Yep.
studied science.
Yep, I
and-
did. Yep, I have a bachelor's degree in science. So, but yeah.
And so how does baking align with your science background?
It's all chemistry. So, I don't know. It's different chemical reactions. It's just using a lot of heat and different ingredients like the leavening agents and stuff like that. So I get kind of sciencey in some of my classes, and people ask, and I'm sure it goes over their head, but it makes my heart happy. So
Well, and especially sourdough.
yeah, that's definitely a science.
I mean that, because you have to be very careful with sourdough, because
Yes.
people can get sick if they don't do it right.
Well, yeah, or it just dies. So,
Oh, okay,
but,
okay.
yeah, because sourdough has your yeast and then lactobacillus. That's what gives it the tangy taste. So, but you can contaminate it and stuff, so you do have to be careful. But so.
What has been the most enjoyable part about starting a business?
Some freedom in my schedule, which has been nice. Like this year I was able to go part-time, which has freed up some of my time with my kids and like being flexible for their different activities. So that's been really exciting. And the creative outlet, because I'm a very creative person. I like to paint and stuff too. So it's just kind of a way for me to be creative, earn some money for my family, have a little bit of freedom in my schedule, because the hospital schedule's crazy, so it's never the same. But
Oh, sure.
so I'm trying to maybe eventually go away from that. I mostly just work for insurance right now because my husband's also self-employed. So, but
Sure.
yeah. But,
Sure. Well, life in the modern
Yeah,
world,
yeah,
right?
so,
Everybody's got to do what they
right.
got to do.
So I'm only working 3 days a week, which has been nice. So. But,
And so what has been the most challenging part about having this business?
balancing everything, especially during like Christmas, and May is one of my busy times because graduations and Mother's Day and Nurses Day and end of school. So I just have to, it's been really hard finding a balance. Like, I'd get too busy and my husband get mad, but, and then pulling back, and I don't know. So I feel like I'm finally starting to get it, and working less at the hospital has been helpful. So finding that balance.
So you run the business from your house?
Yep.
So how do people get the treats then when they order them? Do they have to come up and pick them up, or do you
So I
drop
usually
them
meet
off?
them in the Heights, because
Okay.
Shepherd's I do a porch pickup also if they want to like come out to Shepherd, but like usually, or sometimes they meet me at St. Vincent and I drop off there. So it's but they order through like my website, and I usually about 2 days before their event or whatever, I get together with them to give them their cookies. So, because they're good for like 2 weeks, because I heat seal them and label them and package them. So,
What does that mean, heat seal them?
so it creates a seal, so it's airtight.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So kind of like what you
Yep.
do.
So
with
it's like a plastic that I just seal it with my heat sealer, and so it creates a nice barrier for it. So they last for about 2 weeks at room temperature, or you can freeze them for like ever. So.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so
that's true.
fun.
And so, what kind of feedback have you gotten from your business?
Really great feedback. I feel like that's probably why I keep doing it, because I mean, people keep asking. I have lots of repeat customers. I have lots of people that come to multiple classes, and they say they're fun, and you know, it's a nice break from their everyday life. It's kind of like a paint and sip, but you get to eat the cookies when you're done. So I don't know. It's been rewarding to like. I don't know. It's my love language probably is to bake something for people, and so like I don't know. It makes me feel good when I get to be a part of people's celebrations. So.
And so what do people typically go to the classes for? Do they really want to learn, or they just kind of want to have a good night out? Or?
It depends. Like, I think some people really come to learn some different techniques. Royal icing is really hard to figure out, and so I think that helps people who are trying to figure it out, like what consistency it should be and that sort of thing. Some people just want to do an activity with their friends or their kids, because my kids love decorating the cookies with me, so I have lots of family-friendly themes that we do. So I try to do a kid class every year just because they like it. So mostly just probably an activity to do, especially during Christmas time. I think that's when people want to get together with their families and stuff. I do like private events too, where like a business will ask to do like a team building workshop type thing. So yeah, so like I'll design the set specifically for them, and we'll decorate it, and they get to have a good time and learn something new. And
do you ever have men who come?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
which is great.
Yeah, I was just wondering. It sounds like it's mostly women.
It's 90% women.
Okay.
I love it when men come, because it's, I don't know, it's not just a girl thing.
No, because I know a lot of men who like to bake.
Yeah, and I love it when they come with their wives and they do better than their wives, and then they get angry. But but no, I've had a couple men that come pretty regularly, which has been fun to have to. So, but yes, it's mostly women and their kids. So,
and they come over and over again.
Mm-hmm, yeah, I have a mom and a daughter that have been coming since the very beginning when I started. Must have been 3 years ago now that I've started doing cookie classes, and they come to almost every other one. So I mean, I see them all the time. But yeah, it's been
And
cool.
so you had mentioned royal icing. Maybe you should tell us what that is, because I'm not sure I exactly know.
It's powdered sugar, meringue powder, corn syrup, and vanilla and almond is my recipe. And so it'll dry hard. Instead of like buttercream, still has like a soft bite to it or whatever. And there's no butter in it, so it's shelf stable. So I can sell it with the cottage law, because I cook out of my house. So
yeah, gotcha. But sometimes I've had those and they're kind of hard, right? And don't taste very good.
Yeah. I add corn syrup to mine, so it gives it a little bit of softer bite. So I think that's really the difference.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah.
Because it'll taste sweet but kind of sickening, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really wanted to bring you one, but I didn't have time. So
that's okay.
Yeah. So no, I get lots of compliments at how good they taste, so that I'm very proud of it. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's the corn syrup. Plus, I add the vanilla and the almond extract to it. So. Yeah.
So that gives it that extra zing.
Yeah.
I found that almond extract is really a good addition for frosting. I mean, just typical like buttercream frosting.
Yeah, it gives it a nice flavor, different depth.
And you don't need very much. Just like even
just
a quarter
like
teaspoon
or something. Yeah. So.
Huh.
Yeah.
So what do you have planned for the future with your business?
To keep doing what I've been doing. And I've been growing every year, which has been really cool. Like I just did my taxes. But, and every year I've been seeing a growth, which has been really cool. I think eventually, if I can figure it out, I would really like to just quit my healthcare job and do this full time, because then I can be flexible. I've considered maybe renting a commercial kitchen so I can expand into wholesale and stuff like that, but I'm not quite there yet. And so, we'll see. So.
Well, and it's a big
It's a commitment.
jump
Yeah,
when
that's
you
huge.
when all of a sudden you have
Overhead.
yeah, and then in a way it's kind of making you real busy
Right.
when you wanted to kind of have
Be
time.
more flexible.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. It's a trade-off,
Yeah,
right?
the overhead is really low at my house, which has been
Right.
nice. So, and I have a little studio down in my basement. We actually finished my basement because I was getting so busy, and my husband's like, "You cannot do this anymore," like in our kitchen. So, he built me a little, like it's an office that I have an oven, and then across the hall we have our wet bar for our basement and stuff. So it's not like a full kitchen, but it's kind of like a kitchen.
A nice place to bake.
Yeah, and I can close myself off and ignore my kids for a little bit and get some alone time.
So have you seen other people start little cottage baking businesses?
Yeah, there's a group of us in town that we all kind of know each other, and I recommend, when I'm unable to book an order, I always recommend a few different people, like they might have some availability, and to check out with them. And we have a nice little network, so it's been nice to be able to support other people doing it too. So
well, and it's kind of amazing because even 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you didn't really see this.
Yeah, the laws have changed, and I think that's why.
Oh,
so
okay.
Montana has I think it's I don't know, they changed their cottage law basically to food freedom, I think is what it's called. So you can do more of that face-to-face selling.
Instead of having a commercial kitchen.
Yeah, you have to, like, if you're going to wholesale, like if a coffee shop wanted to sell my stuff, I'd have to bake them in a commercial kitchen because
Right.
I'm not inspected. But if I'm doing like a farmer's market or a craft fair or like the face-to-face selling, then you can do that with the freedom law.
So do you do anything like farmer's market?
I've done some
or-
craft fairs sometimes.
I was wondering Renaissance.
It's right in the smack dab middle of
All
like
summer.
all this stuff
Yeah.
going on. Sometimes they're profitable for me, sometimes they're not, because I don't know what's going to sell all the time, and that's hard because like people who do like jewelry. I have a friend that does jewelry, which is really great, but like if she doesn't sell stuff, she can just pack it up and bring it to the next craft fair, where like mine's, I have to sell it within that week basically, or it's not really any good. So I always do the craft fair at St. Vincent in the November, just because it's a fun little craft fair, and I make a little money before Thanksgiving. So, and I've done a few other ones, but it just depends. I do like what I call a pop-up. Like I'm doing like a St. Patrick's Day pop-up right now, where like people can pre-order, and then I have a drop-off at Target in the Heights or at Shepherd, and they can pre-order and then pick it up. So those seem to do better for me than like the craft fairs. So,
well, and there's so many different holidays that you think of Valentine's Day,
right.
St. Patty's Day, Mother's Day,
and it depends on my schedule really if I do it or not. Like I was doing Christmas, like stocking stuffers and stuff, but I got really busy with the classes, so I haven't done those in the last couple of years. But the classes have been really great, so they've been giving me a little more financial freedom. So
right.
But
and so, what's the best part about teaching the classes?
So originally, when I went to school, right out of high school, I wanted to be a teacher, and then I just decided I didn't want to teach kids, mostly because I didn't want to deal with people's parents. So I think I've always wanted to teach, but I kind of went in a different direction, and I've just kind of been finding my way back into it. And it's really fun to like share my passion and have people learn different skills. I did a food prep class a couple weeks ago, and there were some young adults, like 20-year-olds, that had never really cooked, and they learned some things. And that was really cool because I thought it was just going to be a bunch of moms that put stuff in a bag, for dinner. So it was really fun to just show them some things and know that they've learned something. I don't know. So it makes my heart happy. And the baking classes have been like that too, where I'm actually teaching them how to bake it, not just like decorate the cookie, which has been kind of cool. So some of my expertise, and like I don't have any formal training, it's just all been self-taught, but I get really hyper focused on learning something and mastering it and then moving on to something else. But
well, and it sounds like you've had a background starting with your grandma.
And then my mom did cakes and catered when I was young, so I kind of just was always around it. And so I also like to cook too, but not on a professional level, but I can. So it's just something I grew up with. I just have always been around it. So I remember seeing, like, going through some of my notebooks when I was going through my college notebooks to get rid of some stuff with spring cleaning, and there was like cupcake flavors at the top of the margins or something that I was like daydreaming about. So I feel like I've always kind of wanted to do something like this.
So do you do anything unique, like flavor-wise, with cookies or cupcakes?
It's just vanilla almond for my cookies, and then for my sugar cookies. But I really like to do like when I was making cupcakes pretty regularly, and I still do, I like to experiment with different flavors. Like for St. Patrick's Day, I'm doing a chocolate mint, and then I'm doing Irish car bomb, which is Guinness chocolate with the Irish buttercream. So yeah, I don't know, like the boozy cupcakes are kind of fun, but
just trying to, but that must be challenging in itself, because you have to be careful how you combine it, because otherwise it could get too liquidy, right?
Yep. You just have to be creative and try new things, but also, I don't know, sometimes I'll look at a bunch of recipes and then kind of make my own. So I don't know.
So you've gotten to that point, huh?
So
that's good. And so when people are first learning, what do you think the biggest challenge is? I mean, I know the frosting sounds like that's complex, but just the cookies themselves.
Just knowing what is supposed to look like, you know, because it just depends on the weather sometimes, or if you're not measuring completely correctly. You know, like in Europe, they measure everything by weight, and that's a lot more accurate, because you can pack in you know, your flour too much or not enough, you know. So like if you're not getting that exact weights and stuff, it can change the texture of your product. So I feel like that's probably the biggest challenge, is just people not knowing exactly what it's supposed to look like to make it turn out right. So
well, that makes sense. So you have a cup of flour, let's say, and it's packed pretty tight, so then your cookies could be kind of dry. But if you didn't know that was wrong, you wouldn't even know, oh, I need to add some more.
I mean, because I can look at my dough and be like, oh, I added too much flour or something.
Right.
So, yeah, but that comes with experience, I think. So. Yeah.
And so then you can just kind of go around when they're making them and say, oh, okay, well, you did a little too much flour, maybe we need to add in.
We did that with bread when I was doing the baking class, which was, you know, like, because it's not exact. Like, it's hard to, like, you know, because it says, you know, add 4 to 6 tablespoons, so like it's really hard to know exactly, because it really does depend on like the humidity and all that stuff too. So it's hard to teach that kind of. It's kind of an intuition things, but
well, and you should, after a while, you get a feel for it, right? Like this dough feels right. I mean, I just remember from bread, you know, just like it would feel good.
Correct.
Like
yes,
I don't know, like it has an elasticy kind of.
Yeah, and you have to knead it enough to like develop that gluten and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely an art, but
yeah, so part art, part science.
Yeah, so art, I really love it.
So what are the biggest things that you've taken away personally from having your own business?
It's hard. I need to be better at bookkeeping. I was never no one's taught me really how to do that, so that's been the biggest challenge. But just learning how to advertise and, you know, do all these things on my own. Like, it's organically, you know, come about, but I have to do social media because that's where most of my orders come from. So that's been a challenge to learn that, because I'm not as tech savvy as I thought I was, and there's lots of different things that you can do with that. But so I'm learning different skills too, which has been kind of nice. Like, I don't know, I've always had a growth mindset where if you're not learning something new, you're just gonna stay stagnant and not be happy. So I continually try to better myself, and learn new things. I don't know, I like to learn, but.
Well, and a lot of times starting a business can just bring about just the unknowns, I'll say.
Yes.
And so it can be kind of overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, it's been overwhelming, but this is like the 5th or 6th year, I guess it's the 6th year now, time goes fast, that I've been doing it, and it's been rewarding more than it's been challenging. So I think that's part of the reason I keep doing it and just keep going. And it's been really good for our family, and it's good to like reignite some passion that I feel like I lost.
Yeah.
When you're having babies and that sort of thing, you know, I feel like I'm finding myself again now that my kids are older and like not so reliant on me all the time.
Well, and that is just really true with young parents, because you have to pour yourself into these wonderful little beans.
Yes.
But then as a result, you lose some of who you were.
Yeah, and that was kind of, I feel like, what I was doing when I was just learning the new skills, because I was just trying to get myself back and like be creative and have an outlet, and it's just kind of developed organically. I didn't really plan it, it just has kind of happened. So
well, I love that it's based on what you're passionate about, because they always say if you want something to not feel like work, do something that you would just do for fun anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm definitely busy. Like when I went part-time, I'm like, oh, you're gonna have so much time. I'm like, no, I'm still very, very busy. I just doing different things now. So, but
well, what advice would you have for somebody who wants to start a small business?
take a business course.
Oh.
I think just making sure you know how to like keep your books in line, and just really know your market, and learn how to do the social media stuff. Like I feel like that's where it's at for advertising and that sort of thing. So it's and just knowing your clients and your like what and then just constantly learning the new stuff to like stay current, which has been like stuff that sold 3 years ago is not selling right now. I have to kind of keep up with the trends and kind of reinvent myself all the time. So it's been fun and hard.
And hard, yeah. But it sounds like the sugar cookies have been consistent and are sort of ever popular.
Yeah, so far. Let's hope they stay that way. But I still, and I offer other things too. So I feel like that's just kind of come with, because I feel like this is probably like a trend and a fad, maybe, and so I just want to make sure that if I want to continue to do this, to make sure I'm expanding in different markets to keep those clients, to come back. But I book out anywhere from like 2 to 3 months ahead of time. So like I have a very great clientele that keeps coming back, awesome. Which is great. So,
well, and let's tell people how they can find you. So your website, we have it up on the screen here.
Yeah, that's my website, and all my cookie classes are listed on there. I have like my galleries from different sets that I've made on there. There's, if you want a custom order, there's a form that you can fill out, and I usually get back to you within 24 to 48 hours, depending on how crazy my life has been. So, but, and then all my pre-sale stuff is up there too. So
great.
Yeah.
Well, and classes.
Yep, and classes.
Let's not forget classes.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fun time.
Yeah.
Sounds like you could do it with work buddies, with family, with friends.
It's a lot of fun. And I love that people would just keep coming back. So I see the same names sign up all the time, and that just makes me happy that people want to continue to like do it, and they're not bored of it, I guess. So,
but well, that's
because I come up with different themes all the time, and I'm always trying to come up with the cute little themes, and I can tell which themes are very popular because they sell out a lot faster. But usually those sell out about a month or two in advance, especially at Christmas time. I like posted them in October, and I think I was completely booked by the beginning of November.
Oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. Well, so let's make sure everybody sees that website one more time. You can see it on the screen here. Mm-hmm. And it has been wonderful having you today. I'm so glad we had a chance to meet. And everybody, thank you so much for watching All About Billings, and we hope to see you next time.